Hey everyone, this podcast is part of Story Mode, the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. You can support us and gain access to other great exclusive podcasts at patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
It's an army. Oh! It's an army of the dead. They're dead. They're dead. Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
My name is David Bell.
My name is Tom Ryman.
And we just watched Army of the Dead.
Oh, boy.
Oh!
You ready to play?
There's $200 million in the vault beneath the strip, with a 32-hour window to get it out. Find the safe. This should be a simple in and out.
It's not too late to go back.
If you're gonna play the game, you gotta learn to play it right.
They ended with that Cranberries song.
Yes.
And it was like, you motherfuckers. This is, Army of the Dead. Zack Snyder starring Sean Spicer.
Mm-hmm.
You know the movie.
Yeah.
I didn't...
Big old action movie. Netflix. It was one of the first movies that Netflix paid a bundle for. I think it was like 2 years ago, I think, when it first got announced.
I really didn't want to watch this because Sean Spicer's in it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
But it was like, what the fuck else are we going to talk about? We will cover Spiral. That's a promise we've made.
Yes.
For some reason. Maybe Cruella.
We're getting back into it, man. There's going to be a theatrical movie pretty much every week now.
Yeah. It's going to be
for the rest of the summer. Like, the movies are...
It's going to be exhausting.
Back.
Movies are back, baby.
Yeah,
Cruella.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, sure, we could talk about that.
Everybody's talking about Cruella.
Yep.
I haven't seen it. Hopefully not going to see it.
Well,
how did you like, Tom? How did you like Army of the Dead?
Like Cruella, I've seen both.
Yeah.
I found Army of the Dead to be a movie that is frustratingly bad because there are glimpses of a movie I would have enjoyed within it.
Okay. I need you to expand on this because
okay.
I liked this movie.
Okay.
I didn't love it, but it was fine.
Yeah.
I watched it and I was like, yeah, that's a zombie movie.
Yeah. I will say that I enjoyed this movie more than I didn't. But like I said, it still frustrates me in several spots, actually. It
takes, I believe, 49 minutes for them to enter Las Vegas.
Yes, that's a problem.
It's a long movie. But when you realize they kind of spell it out at one point, she says the quote, "You don't see them fucking each other over," and I was
aliens.
Like, it's aliens. You're doing aliens.
Yeah.
Oh, it's even the bomb scene and we have to go back and get my daughter.
Yeah.
Like it's
and then she's gone but comes back just exactly like Bishop. Like he telegraphs it. And that's part of what's frustrating to me about the movie is the obviousness of that reference. Maybe that's not accurate.
This is probably why I like the movie, because I like aliens. And when you just are like, it's aliens, but zombies, I'm like, okay. I mean, it would have been cool if you made like an original idea, great.
It is not literally aliens.
No, but it's very similar. It's a group of Marines, essentially, going in. They all got big personalities. There's a corporate guy who's fucking them over. They're trying to steal Zombie to bring it back to the corporate. And can we talk about that massive plot hole?
I mean, we can. You asked me to elaborate on what I'm sorry.
I'm all over the place. I'm chugging a Red Bull, Tom. I'm chugging.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think this movie is not. Okay. there's a couple. This is going to take me a second to get all this out, so bear with me. Right. I think this year is demystifying. That's a weird phrase to say, but this year is doing that, I think, to Zack Snyder, because we're seeing, like, with this movie and with Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Snyder Cut, he doesn't really the problems that people had with, like, Batman v Superman about how it's so confusing, like it's a jumbled mess of gibberish. That's not really his problem. Like, when he is given free reign, his movies aren't confusing. Like, they're not hard to follow. So that's nice. The problem I had with Army of the Dead was the tone. And I think he got it better with Dawn of the Dead, where it's when he goes for fun, when he goes for, like, playful or, like, mischievish, like when he's, like, kind of being, like, a little impish about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I really like that. This movie is much more of a bummer than I expected. So, like, it begins... when this movie gets bogged down with seriousness is what kind of turns me off.
I need to push back on that, because you're not the only person who said this.
I get that that's part of zombie movies. Most zombie movies are bleak.
It's a zombie movie. And Dawn of the Dead, his other film, Dawn of the Dead, much like this film, includes Richard Cheese songs. But it begins with this woman's family dissolving in seconds, her crying and getting fucked up, and then followed by, like, terrific credits. Dawn of the Dead credits, so good. And it ends with someone very sadly sacrificing their life, and it's treated as such. And then, like most zombie movies, it has the double ending where it's like, and the zombies continued, because that's how zombie movies work.
Yeah.
Most zombie movies are very sad. The Night of the Living Dead, what a bummer.
Yes. It's between the way the movie's marketed, the idea of it's a heist movie in the middle of a zombie movie, and, like, the opening 20 minutes of this movie really sells a different film.
Yes, I understand that.
And I like it more when I like Zack Snyder when he's having more fun as well. He's clearly having fun, but yeah.
This could have been a 90-minute heist zombie movie.
Yeah.
Here's I don't want to discuss this too much, but obviously Zack Snyder has some tragedy in his life.
Yes.
And this movie is about a father and a daughter.
It's less morose than his meditation on it was in the Snyder Cut, because that's mostly what the Snyder Cut was about as well. So it's like it's less intense in this movie, but it's still there.
I think it might serve him well to just make a drama, just write and make a drama from his heart, because he does keep injecting it in. And I this is the thing about Zack Snyder that I was thinking about a lot. Has he done anything bad, like, in his life? Like,
oh, do you mean does he suck?
Yeah, does he suck?
Not that I'm aware of.
And when you look at, like, Batman or the Dawn, no, not that one, Justice League, and, like, you look at how it was like, get him out of here. Get Joss Whedon to take over.
Who is just an abominable person.
Yeah. And it's like, you know what? At the end of the day, I'll take the nice man who makes bad movies.
Yes.
Over the bad man who makes
I'll take the guy,
quote-unquote good movies.
It's very telling that, regardless of how divisive his movies end up being, because it's turned into some kind of weird pop culture crusade for his fans. Nobody really has anything negative to say about working with him.
Right. And, like, there's something to that. And, like, yeah, his movies, like, certainly frustrating. This is, for some weird reason, this is the year of me liking some of his stuff.
I liked Snyder Cut. And like I said, I liked more of this movie than I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's weird, because I really don't like most of his work. And he just started... there's something about it. This movie too, like, it's a bit long, but it never bored me. It kept my attention.
It doesn't. I'll say that it's long. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes, but it didn't feel that long.
No, and it's nonsense. It has a major plot hole.
It has a lot of major plot holes, and he's doing a thing where he's trying to build this into a franchise. So he has a lot of stuff in this movie that doesn't make sense intentionally because he wants to like tease people about this universe he's created that's explaining where there's UFOs in it. There's
UFOs in it?
There are UFOs. There's a time loop paradox in it.
Well, all right, the time loop paradox I thought was just like a bullshit dialogue.
Because they come... You remember when she goes up to close the grate and she thinks it's closed, but a zombie hand is stuck in it?
Yeah.
And later on, when the guy who shot Wild Bill, Garrett Dillahunt, climbs up through the grate and shuts the grate, the hand's not there.
Oh, does that mean a time loop?
Well, because they already introduced the idea by pointing out that the vault had corpses that all look like them. And then it shows. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, he has gone on record and said that he put things into this movie that deliberately doesn't make sense, and it's because he's trying to tease this bigger universe about like the origins of the zombies and like where they came from and stuff like that. You don't have to notice that stuff.
Mind
like,
it. Yeah.
The movie makes sense
UFO?
on it. It's in the beginning. You got it's like an Easter egg. It's when the main zombie breaks out and kills a military convoy and walks up over the ridge to look out at Las Vegas. If you look, there are UFOs flying above the city.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love it.
Yeah. I don't hate it. I do not hate it.
Just shout out to the fact that there are 2 cast members from the Sarah Connor Chronicles in this movie.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. There's the what's his face? The fucking Deadwood.
Oh, Garrett Dillahunt.
Garrett Dillahunt. And then the sleazy ass cop. That they immediately are like, fuck this guy.
That guy, yeah. Oh, that was interesting, actually. I enjoyed that little plot line because I thought it was just going to be extremely Zack Snyder.
I turned to Hannah and I was like, do you think this guy's going to have a redemption arc or be murdered immediately? Because it could be one or the other.
And it was neither.
It was neither.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he was more or less murdered immediately.
Well, he was transformed into that scene had more purpose than I expected. Like when he gets so what happens is they get this bullshit guy who sucks. They really heavily imply that he's a rapist to try to get you to not feel bad for him, but they basically have to serve this dude up as an offering to the zombie queen. For safe passage through Vegas. We'll get to that.
When we say that, it sounds ridiculous.
It sounds ridiculous, but it's the movie eases you into it, and it's one of the cooler things it does because it's kind of unexpected. About 30 minutes in, they're like, we're just going to go in and fight these zombies, and the woman, like the coyote who ferries people in and out, she's like, you don't understand what's going on in there.
Yeah,
like it's not just zombies; it's a whole ass society in there.
It's Land of the Dead.
Yeah,
they're doing Land of the Dead.
Land of the Dead, basically. But
we can go through the plot.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about this scene real quick.
Oh yeah,
when they get this guy up as an offering and they drag him off, you're like, oh okay, well they've made it clear that this guy is despicable. We're going to see something horrible happen to this dude, and we follow him. Like we follow him as he gets dragged into the zombie lair and he witnesses like this zombie ritual. And so it's like this whole time, I'm like, okay, are they just gonna? Like, if they just did this to just kill this guy, this is like a waste of time. But that's not what happens. They do it to show us how they add people to their zombie army. And I was like, kudos to you, Zack Snyder. Not perfectly.
It's a good narrative.
I completely expected this to not add to the narrative whatsoever. And it didn't.
Right. So the plot is basically that the military at the beginning is carrying a
super zombie. Zombie
for some reason. And Lord knows where they got it. That's sort of the point.
It's coming from Area 51. They say that they picked it up from Area 51.
So this is an alien, huh?
Probably. Well, because I mean, like in the original Night of the Living Dead, it was like gas from a meteorite. I think it's all. It's like a nod toward atomic age.
It's always sci-fi. Zombies. We forget zombies are a sci-fi premise. As much as a horror premise.
Night of the Living Dead is. Zombies as a whole are not, but that specific...
Well, it's still like super science shit a lot of the time. A virus.
Sometimes.
It counts as sci-fi. It's sci-fi horror, I would say.
Yeah, for this certainly does, yeah.
And so the convoy gets wrecked by a married couple in like a Buick, and that was like, no, right? Like, you can't crash into a Buick and like ruin your military convoy.
If you crash, you crash headfirst into a truck at 78 miles an hour in a Buick, it's still going to be a problem.
It's going to be more of a problem for the Buick.
It's going to be.
Though,
the Buick explodes. The military truck flips off the road, which I think is.
It's just.
I think it's acceptable.
Carry zombies better is my point.
Right, like put it in a tank or like a half track at least,
or like watch the road.
Yeah.
Block off the road. You got a zombie. Block off the road. You're the military. Point is that the zombie eats them, and then it's right outside of Vegas, and we get a great sequence of the opening credits.
Zack Snyder is extremely good at opening credit sequences.
He's amazing at credit sequences.
The Watchmen credit sequence is one of the best sequences in any movie. It's really good.
He does this thing with it where he sets a tone, where he builds a universe in the credits. But considering how long-winded he is and how he's
very efficient in these credit sequences
when he wants to be. Yeah.
That's why I called out the Watchmen. The Watchmen credits encapsulate so much of the backstory of the comics into just a quick 2-minute sequence, and it's all visual.
Right. Yeah, and you're like, got it.
Yeah,
I got it.
You can be very efficient when you want to be.
Yeah, same with this. I was like, I got it.
Yeah.
Vegas zombies blocked off. Dave Bautista's family.
We even see a lot of the characters. Yeah, so it's like, okay, we know. So by the time we officially meet Bautista as a fry cook, we know kind of what kind of guy he is.
Right, and he's a fry cook piece of shit.
Mm-hmm. And wearing tiny glasses.
Yeah, he's got daughter problems
because he had to stab his zombie wife in the head.
Yeah, and he's acting, and that made me happy.
Yeah,
to see him act. And so he gets offered by a evil corporate guy, come
by Scorpion.
You gotta by Scorpion.
By Scorpion.
He's like, you got to break into my casino. You get the money.
Mm-hmm. Well, they get a percentage of the money. It's like
you're right. He wants the money back. He's like, the insurance already covered this,
so it's free money.
But it's free money. So go gather a team. You need a safecracker.
Yeah, there's a ticking clock. The government has decided it's going to nuke Vegas, and they're going to nuke it on the 4th of July.
Right. They show Sean Spicer.
And they show Sean
on
Spicer,
the news, and that is upsetting and unnecessary.
Yeah, he is playing the buffoon
depressing.
In that,
right?
But it's also, let's just stop giving Sean. Well, that could have been anybody. It didn't need to be Sean Spicer.
Well, all right. There's a few moments in this where this movie was clearly written and made assuming Trump was going to win.
Maybe.
Again, because they have a few. It's like when you watch movies in the Bush era. And they'll Michael Bay has Bush in one of the Transformers in one scene, and they're always like, "Look, he's a dummy, haha." And then they move on. They don't talk about the war crimes.
Maybe they thought this was going to come out while Trump was still president, because I think this got delayed. I think
so. Sean Spicer is clearly supposed to be part of the Trump White House defending it. And they have parts where they quote the president, and it's clearly it's supposed to be
shit.
Trump.
Yeah.
And it's I don't need any of this.
Yeah.
I don't need politics at all. I don't need you to tell me about immigration or try to make this an allegory. I know it's zombies and we love making them an allegory for things.
Right, but it's not an allegory. It's kind of, because he's I guess he's trying to draw not even really, he's just trying to present the parallel of is it really, because these zombies are thinking and actual aware human beings after a fashion. Isn't it the same thing to treat them this way? And it's no, it's not. But
right. But it's I saw Land of the Dead. They tried that then, and then they do the thing where they're we have to take your temperature, and there's a refugee camp where they're one bad temperature, you get shot for being a zombie. And it was the one thing I know about this zombie apocalypse is that it happens very fast. There's no situation where there would be a refugee camp where they're they could be infected. It's if they were, you'd know. They didn't set up the idea that you could be carrying the virus.
No, they don't.
You know what I mean?
Well, this is how they set it up.
Yeah, but they don't they don't show it visually as a fear. They show that it happens very quick. They show the opposite. And so then when they tell us this, and I was like, this seems like bullshit. But they wanted to do refugee camps, border crisis. They're trying to make it topical, but they aren't saying anything. And that's when I'm like, yeah, just take it out. Just take it out of your movie. If you don't have anything like good to say,
we
just take it out.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. So we don't need a laboriously detailed plot.
No. So they go in. Dave Bautista gets a team. It's a bunch of people. And the plan is to bring the safecracker in, and then use a helicopter on the top of this casino to get out. Tig Notaro's there.
Yeah.
So sort of there.
Well, the effects look good. Honestly, they did a pretty good job, and
there was there was a couple shots that I was like, ooh,
yeah, but
mostly, yeah.
Everyone's looking too because everybody knows she was digitally inserted into the film to replace Chris D'Elia after it came out that he's a big sex pest.
They dubbed some pronouns in there, like a couple people, and it works. It works fine.
And
Tig is one of the best parts of the movie.
She has a couple of lines that fucking floor me.
She's great.
The one that I was telling you about before is when Batista jumps in the helicopter and she says, "Is that a zombie in a fucking cape?"
Yeah, that's such a good line. Zombie in a cape, because things get complicated.
Yeah, the zombie king wears a fucking helmet and a cape.
It's so good. Yeah, so. It's basically they establish that they make this sacrifice to appease the zombies. They have a zombie guide. Dave Bautista's daughter decides to go in to find this woman or these women who were let in earlier.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm going in too. And Dave Bautista's like, no, you're not. And she's like, I'm doing it. And so she does it. We establish the zombies are smart. Zombie King has a queen. She's knocked her up with a little zombie baby.
Yeah, there's two tiers of zombie. There's the upper class commander zombies who are a little bit more, and then there's the classic zombies.
I loved because this reminded me of some World War Z shit where they go through the dried out zombies, and what the guide is crazy thing is when it rains they start moving again. And they're skeletons practically.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah. And so Jesus, they basically
they basically have to make their way into a casino basement to steal money.
I keep forgetting his name. Deadwood.
Garrett Dillahunt.
Garrett Dillahunt is clearly bad.
Yeah, and they mistrust him from the beginning and he betrays them immediately.
Yeah. He's a real Garrett Dillahunt type.
Yeah, he's the guy he usually plays.
Yeah. Except in the Sarah Connor Chronicles. He's great in that.
Yeah. He's also the bumbling deputy in No Country for Old Men.
Oh my God, I always forget that he's in that.
So we wanted to talk about his plan, right? Because that's the plot hole.
Yes, because the plan that we find out at the end is he goes and they're robbing the casino. They go downstairs. He's gonna check the perimeter, and he pays off the guide to go with him to go find the zombie queen or a zombie, and he captures her.
It has to
and
be
chops off her head.
It has to be the zombie queen. It's specifically her.
Is it?
Yes.
Because I thought it was just any old smart zombie.
No, he specifically says it has to be her. They needed some of her DNA because she's the one that has that scream that commands the zombies.
All right, so that's still fine. So he cuts off her head, and so what that does is basically create a grudge with the zombie king.
Yeah.
Who's like, where's my goddamn wife's head? You have my wife's head. And he's bummed that the baby died, but he still wants that head because the head's alive.
The head's alive,
yeah. You can still do stuff with the head. So
yeah, sure.
Maybe
they can sew it back on. Who knows?
Yeah. And what we learn is that the casino heist was all a ruse. His boss just wanted the head. He betrays them all. He doesn't care about the money. He's going to go kill Tig, take the helicopter. And of course, he gets mauled by a zombie lion, as one does.
Tiger.
What's wild about that is why would they do any of this? Why wouldn't they just go to form a team and say, we need this zombie head? And as we learn, she's like the first zombie they see on the outskirts of the city.
Mm-hmm.
So literally all they had to do was send in a team, not lie to them, and just be like, we're taking this head. We'll pay you some money. That's it.
Yeah. No.
Why do any of this?
Don't know. They could have walked right back out the way they came in.
Yes. They could have walked. They literally, like, the whole thing is they get to the edge and the queen's there and she's like, for safe passage, we have to give them a sacrifice. But it's like, you're literally there for her head. Just take her head and walk back because you're still on the edge. They don't have to go deep into the goddamn Vegas zombie land.
It's going to get nuked in 2 days anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not like they need to worry about like ruining relations with the zombie king. They're going to drop a bomb on his ass in 48 hours anyway. Yeah. You're right. I didn't think about that, but that doesn't make any sense.
No, it's ridiculous. It's the equivalent of in Ocean's 11 if we learn that they're really just wanted to pickpocket the doorman.
Mm-hmm.
And they did the whole heist to do that. Yeah. It's like, no, you could have just
done it. It's just literally, they walk out, they go through a little tunnel, walk out into the zombie city, and the first zombie they encounter is the zombie queen. They could have done it right there, turned right back around, and left the zombie city forever.
And yeah, it's
because he doesn't even need the team. All he needs is the coyote. And she's in on the plan, so he doesn't even need Batista or anybody else. They don't need a helicopter pilot. They don't need to go all the way in there.
The entire movie happens for no reason.
That's true. I didn't even think of that. That's extremely funny.
Yeah, especially when you take into consideration, spoilers, everybody dies but the daughter. Yep. So the people that the daughter went to rescue, they died.
Mm-hmm.
So it literally didn't matter. Nothing mattered. They did nothing. The only thing, I was about to say the only thing is the one guy gets the money, but he doesn't, does he?
Batista
gets a zombie bit.
Batista gets a little bit of money and then gives it to her before he dies.
Right.
Yeah, he gets a little bit, a couple 100,000.
So basically, like 10 people die, and probably Mexico City is zombified.
Yes, we are shown in a post-credit sequence that one of the team escapes and discovers he's bitten as he lands in Mexico City. So we're gonna have another outbreak.
But basically, none of this. It's a major problem with the plot. It is the realization that was the reason the villain wanted to do any of this.
Doesn't make any sense.
It is, and I like this movie, but that is a plot-breaking detail.
Yeah.
The movie is broken.
Yeah. No, that doesn't make any sense. That is confounding.
Yeah.
Even if you're like, because like the idea is like, well, it's illegal. We don't want anyone to know that this is why we're going in there. It's like, well, you only have to tell the coyote. And she was already completely fine with keeping your secret.
Right. And like you can still pay enough people at the edge. They still like what it's illegal to go in, period, right?
Right.
Like,
so like and he just puts the zombie head into a little bag for like the coyote's regularly leading people into the city to steal the money that's still there because it's Las Vegas. It's loaded with cash. So anyone who wants to try their luck to try to get some is going in there. So people would just assume, even if they saw him go in with a coyote and then come back out with a coyote with a bag, they would assume that bag had cash in it. Like they're not going to... Yeah. They would just assume it's another person going in there to try to get money. It's like, oh, good, this guy got out. We got our bribe. We'll look the other way. Who gives a shit? It's money nobody cares about anyway.
His employer is Rich Scorpion.
Yeah.
So like
he's fantastically wealthy Scorpion.
Yeah, he could do this very easily just using money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, he can just pay, because they keep paying people to look the other way, and they do a great little bit where, like, the amount keeps getting lower as they go down.
Right, well, yeah, because he has the initial conversation with his first, like, his second in command.
Right.
And they're like, oh, we don't have to tell anybody else that we hire what their cut is. So, yeah, it does keep getting lower. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, and so like you learn that there's people who will do things for a very small amount of money. Like, you could just go to that refugee camp and be like, hey, does everybody want to make like $10,000?
That's literally what they hire the sleaze bag they end up using as an offering. She offers
them like $30,000.
Yeah, it's like $30,000, which is a lot of money. But like, is it wander into a city of the dead money? That I don't know.
I love. Well, obviously the character's terrible. I love his attitude because he's like, "Hey, what the fuck's going on here?" And they're like, "You want to make 30,000?" He's like, "Yeah, I want to make 30,000."
Yeah, obviously.
And like he just like listens to everything they say and is just like, "Fuck yeah, I'm just gonna make 30,000. I don't give a fuck."
Yeah, he is DTF.
He is a man who can be bought, and he knows it.
Yep, he wears that on his sleeve.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. That actor.
Yeah, he's great.
I recognize him from a few things, and I forget what else. I think he's in Luke Cage.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure he's a bad guy in that.
I didn't watch any of the... I only watched the first 2 seasons of Daredevil. I fell off the Marvel Netflix stuff pretty fast.
Luke Cage is good. But yeah, the movie makes no sense. It's all for nothing.
That is funny. That didn't even occur to me.
No, yeah. When that happened, it was just like, wait, what? Because they literally go back to the place they started to capture her. They like visually represent, like show how nothing mattered, because they go literally like back to the same place where the guy got sacrificed and they capture her. And it was like, oh yeah, you are right, movie. They didn't need to do any of this, did they? Jeez.
Right, because it's not, you can't even argue that like, well, maybe Scorpion wanted both the zombie head and the money, because like Garrett Dillahunt screws them over. Like, he leaves them there.
He leaves the money.
Yeah.
He could literally, when he captures that head, he could literally just walk back the way they came.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
Because they establish that that's right on the edge. So basically what happens is, and this is fucking ridiculous, the more I think about it, they go past that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they have to go off the streets and they go through those tunnels. And they have that tense zombie situation. Then they get to the casino, and Dave Bautista is like, so this is what all our jobs are. Garrett Dillahunt, you go do the perimeter. And he just goes back and does that thing at the beginning. So all the threats that they went through getting from A to B, like, they aren't there anymore. Like, it's like if Frodo, like, quickly... It's like if at the end of Lord of the Rings, they, like, quickly double back to, like, Rivendell. Like, to do something real quick, because like that journey through all the zombie infested area, apparently he could just double back easily, and maybe I guess that's because they cleared it out. But again,
well, they didn't. They like locked the door. I don't know. Maybe they went around outside. I don't know.
It's clearly the stakes weren't that high, because he just goes back and captures the zombie head, and then he goes back to them. And it's like, that's weird. I thought that was a big deal, getting from there to there.
Yeah, that's not bothering me as much as the fact that the whole plan doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, because you could just say, well, maybe they went up, because they're kind of in the front of the casino at that point. So it's like, oh, maybe they went outside and went around.
No, yeah, but then why didn't they get to the casino?
Why didn't they go?
Way?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's all nonsense.
Yeah, Coyote says some line about like, well, we can't just walk down the middle of the street. We're already pushing it by being here. So maybe they had to go through the bill. I don't know. Man. I don't really like. There's a lot of fun.
It's very dumb.
There's a lot of fun moments in this. That's dumb as hell.
Like I said, I like this movie. I enjoyed this movie. It's a bad movie.
Yeah, it's a bad movie.
It has a movie-breaking plot hole. It's the characters make no sense. What they're doing makes no sense. It's dumb. I enjoyed a lot of the scenes. I liked that scene where they go through the zombies and they're all sleeping.
That was a cool idea.
Yeah. I enjoyed the Zombie King and his zombie bride.
Yeah. That guy fucking ruled.
Yeah.
Running around in a helmet and a cape.
He's having a great time.
Riding a fucking horse.
I said a few times under my breath, I want to be a zombie. Like, it's just, oh man, it looks so much fun. If I get to be the Zombie King, wearing my helmet, my cape, riding my zombie horse, yes. Yeah, he's got a lion. It's or a tiger.
It's a tiger.
It's just his.
Yeah.
It's his tiger, his zombie tiger. And when that tiger tears apart
old Garrett.
old Garrett. Yeah, it is great.
It's a protracted scene too. He gets killed for about a minute.
Yeah. I really enjoyed the ultra violence because it's cartoon shit. When they're like mini gunning a zombie and it's just exploding in a way that a body would never explode.
Dave, there's one more thing I must talk about.
All right.
And it's related to the graphic violence.
Yeah, when they squish that guy.
No, although that was pretty fun. No,
that was great.
It's when Dave Bautista and I forget the actress's name, but she's like his like second.
Right.
She plays Encarnacion in Nacho Libre.
Okay.
They're having this like tender moment about how it's like, I've got to go back out there and find my daughter, and she's like, I'm with you. I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help you through this. And they have like this heart to heart about like, you know, we kind of get the sense during that opening credits montage that there used to kind of be something between them, like a relationship, and that clearly
they're
has
pals.
Fizzled out. And then she's like, I would have come just for you because how I feel about you, I care about you. And then like they're like, yeah, and they're, you know, it was like this heartfelt scene with like this emotional music, and then the doors open and the zombies burst in and snap her neck in a way that her head turns completely around and her collarbone explodes out of her body.
Yeah.
I laughed so fucking hard when I exploded when that happened. Yeah. It's so shocking. Like it's so out
perfect.
Of the blue.
It's perfect.
And it's moments like, because he does that, and then he does like super fucking downer scenes between Batista and his daughter, and it's like, that's what I'm talking about with like the kind of tonal whiplash of this movie.
I think the stuff he can't do, like for example, the food truck thing, I liked what he was trying for. I guess here's the thing about the tonal whiplash. Movies accomplish it all the time successfully. The Avengers, you know, they'll have a scene where it's sad, and then the next scene there's it's a taco. His taco blew away. You know, they can do it. It's hard because then you see movies like Jurassic World that don't do it because most of the problems is see, it really is like it varies movie to movie. Because like one of the problems with superhero movies is that it never feels like there's too much stakes because they're like joking and they're flipping around and they're superhuman they know it.
Well, I mean, and we know that they're not going to die because we know there's 18 sequels coming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they've managed to make those movies entertaining regardless of that because they're like, it's a fun ride. And then, you know, they start actually killing people, etc. They do character stuff. Whereas like Jurassic World, it doesn't work because it's like, oh, those kids are being chased by a dinosaur.
Yeah, but we know
they should be scared.
Yeah.
And they aren't. And they're saying quips, and it's like, this isn't appropriate for this franchise. And so, like, I get the need to try to juggle those things.
Well, it's just when the movie goes to, like, kind of like a Mars Attacks type of humor that's, like, real caustic and nihilistic humor, which tends to, you know, people who make zombie comedies, that tends to be a lot of the comedy in it.
The tone, I know what you're saying, because, like, Mars Attacks could kill people in funny ways who didn't deserve it. And it's just Mars Attacks can light an entire herd of cattle on fire.
Yeah, it's just the whole movie is like it's like punk rock, right? It's like it's just like taking a piss on the whole idea of like a sci-fi adventure film.
I think that's the tone he's trying to go for, which is
for a lot of it. Yeah,
we're all watching a zombie movie. And, like, who really gives a shit about these people?
Right.
Because we're just watching them to die.
You know most of them are going to die.
Yeah. And so why not have them die in fun ways? But because you're making a movie, you still want to connect with the characters.
Yeah.
And he wants to, at the end, make you sad that Dave Bautista gets murdered. He gets bitten and he becomes a zombie. And then he gets shot.
Yeah.
He wants that, but, like... There is I think there's a nihilism that's been his whole career. In the Dawn of the Dead remake, it ends in such a fuck you way too.
Yeah.
Which is that they fought so hard and then they show the ending credits of Dawn of the Dead.
He kills them during the credits.
Yes. He kills them, like they keep flashing to them on the boat that they escaped as, and they're like starving, and then they get to an island and it's just filled with zombies.
Yeah.
So like there is a nihilism that's always there, and like he at least makes the daughter survive and get out of it. He at least identifies this is the character that's worth saving and that we're gonna save.
Yeah.
So there's that. But he does do some hilarious work. Like, I really liked the safe idea where the guy gets shut into the safe and then Vegas gets nuked, and you're thinking about it the whole time. You're like, oh, he's gonna pop out, and he does, and then he gets on a plane and he has all the money. And you're like, oh, that's a fun little button, that this one guy made it out. And then he can't help but to have him get bitten.
Yep.
And it's like, fuck you, Zach. All right.
I kind of I dig that, though. I dig that ending. It's just,
I do too.
I wish.
Because
to
me, here's.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. You can go and then I'll go.
Okay. To me, it's funhouse horror. Because here's the thing about horror. Horror is always tragic.
It's always bleak.
Children.
It's always bleak.
It's Pet Cemetery. It's always like, and then it gets worse, and then it gets worse, and then it gets worse. So he is doing horror, and to be surprised that it's horror things are going to happen, you can't be. I think he assumes the audience is smart enough to know, okay, we're watching horror, we might as well be watching like gerbils in a kindergarten class, like they're just going to die in horrible ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, we can stand from the outside and just laugh at it all and not connect too much with the characters. But the rules of movies say we need to have arcs, because otherwise you don't have a movie.
Well, I'm going to push back against that, because I don't think it has anything to do with how smart the audience is. Compare this movie to the original George Romero's Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
That movie has an extremely consistent tone.
Sure.
Army of the Dead,
I guess,
yo-yos. Well, let me get this thought out.
Okay, yeah.
Army of the Dead yo-yos back and forth between being a real popcorn horror movie that is real breezy, and it's like, look, all these characters are going to die. It's going to be more funny than not. It's going to be more like Tarantino violence. And then he'll yo-yo between that and between like The Walking Dead or like The Mist, where it's like, it's really a bummer when somebody dies.
I guess I don't necessarily agree that or at least I didn't get as much whiplash from that, because it like, I know what you're saying, and like I said, other people have noted this too. I didn't get that whiplash nearly as much as other people are. Maybe because I just didn't care about the characters.
Well, you get plugged into old Dave. Like, you go into the movie liking Batista because he's Batista, and then they do the most work with his character.
I guess I thought he was going to die from the beginning.
I think it was a question. Like, it's always in this kind of movie, it's always like it's 50-50, right? Whether the main character is going to get smoked in a movie like this. It's a zombie movie, and it's also horror movie rules. A horror movie, you got about 50-50 chance, even if you're the main character.
Yeah.
So it went back and forth between the tone of Dawn of the Dead, like Romero's Dawn of the Dead, to the tone of like Dead Alive for me.
Yeah. Okay. It's just the moment a zombie jumped on that helicopter. Yeah. I was like, he's dead. He is immediate. Like, because once you get that scenario, it's like, no, he's going to sacrifice his life and die. But yeah, I know the idea that it's still possible he'd make it through it. But I know, okay, so
I'm not even talking about the fact that he does die. It's just
I'm talking about
the tone.
Yeah, you're saying Dead Alive
versus Dawn of the Dead.
Dawn of the Dead.
And this movie tries to have it both, and I think those are two extremely separate.
Dawn of the Dead's a bad example, I feel like, because didn't that have the choke on it scene?
That's Day of the Dead.
Oh, okay. Okay, never mind.
And that scene is... I don't know. I mean, it's
funny.
It's a pretty sweet line.
It is. It's great.
It's a sweet line.
I mean, I just think that all zombie movies are all about, like, how can we do ridiculous shit within the zombie movie?
Yeah.
It's tough. Because, like, Train to Busan, that's a movie that also does really sad moments and does really awesome zombie moments.
I think that one was more... That had a better grasp of its own tone, because that went further into like the high octane zombie action movie.
Right. It's more. I weirdly to say it's more grounded with its gore. This is like cartoony gore.
Yeah, it's operatic. Like it's like so comic booky.
I think that's just Zack Snyder can't help himself.
Zack Snyder can't help himself. Yeah, he wants stuff that looks cool.
Exactly. And so it's like, I know what you're saying, where it's like that instinct that he has, because it's like on the page, it's like, and then they shoot a zombie, and it's like, well,
it's not just going to be that. It's
got
to look sweet. And I obviously, if something
he's
can look,
trying to do,
I always support, if something can look sweet, make it look sweet.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I guess it's that, and maybe it's just like cynical, is that like, for example, in The Evil Dead, Ash has an emotional journey. He's sad about Linda.
Sure.
Right? But that comes in the form this is what I'm saying, is that comes in the form of like him stopping every now and then to go, Linda.
Yeah.
And like be kind of sad. And it's kind of a joke how little they try. And then he has to chainsaw her head open. I guess that's how I regarded those scenes in this, is like, oh yeah, they're just doing the emotional thing because they have to. Really, we're just watching zombies explode.
Right, and I think Evil Dead can do that and get away with it, and like Train to Busan can do that and
Absolutely.
Get away with it because they're doing more of that. Like Evil Dead is Evil Dead for 80% of the time, and then it'll stop.
Balance.
Yeah, and then Army of the Dead I think doesn't do enough of it to throw off the balance. So it's like there's an even split of buck wild zombie shit and like genuinely downer stuff.
I would argue Evil Dead does it like 99%.
Yes.
They're really half-assed.
It's a Three Stooges movie, and it's what they always have said.
No, I get what you're saying. For some reason, it didn't affect me watching this, that imbalance. And maybe it's just because I didn't care about the characters.
That's fair.
Because like we pointed out, there's a gigantic plot hole in this movie. The movie's broken. The movie is badly written.
See, I didn't notice the plot hole. So I guess we just approached it in two different ways. But
right, the movie is broken. It's badly written. I enjoyed all of it.
Same. I will probably watch it again.
Yes. Yeah.
It is a bad movie, though. Don't misunderstand.
Yeah, but I think if you like zombie movies, if you like horror trash, I'd even have to qualify that a tiny bit. If you might even be a little disappointed if you're just a horror fan, because there's, I guess,
for me, there was I was kind of surprised at how not as much zombie action there was. It's like a lot of talking.
Yeah, it fizzles out a bit at the end. Like, I don't remember. Like,
the end is when like shit starts to happen. Like the last 45 minutes.
I mean, like, I don't remember how like the shitty cop zombie got.
She just shoots him. Like the daughter just very unceremoniously dispatches him after finding the woman she's looking for in the Olympian, the fake hotel they invented where the zombies live.
That casino scene was great.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's shooting people and he's doing wrestling moves on them. Sort of. He like flips a few over his back, and I was like, "Yeah, Batista."
Yeah,
I want to see some fucking wrestling moves, but you know.
Yeah.
I think most horror buffs will at least appreciate it, and like I said, it's basically aliens rather.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he wants you to know it too.
And he wants you to know it. He's not hiding that fact. He quotes aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I thought someone was going to be like, "Are you quoting aliens?" But they didn't.
Nope.
It's fine. It's free if you have Netflix.
Yeah, it's included on Netflix. It's
Zombie Tiger. I don't know.
I might enjoy it more on a second rewatch now that I know what to expect, because the movie makes conflicting offers in its first half, so you're kind of not really sure what sort of movie you're in for.
I found it more fun than like the Zombieland sequel, like a movie I do not even remember.
That movie was so bland.
Yeah, they're not. It's not exactly like Maggie, like the Schwarzenegger film. That's a movie that if you're like, ooh, zombies, you're going to be very disappointed.
That one.
But yeah, it's I don't know. It definitely is more serious than it needs to be.
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was that much more serious.
It's not that it's oppressively serious. It's just more than I was expecting, considering it's kind of the yo-yoing tone.
I was also prepped for that because multiple people had said that to me, and I saw this movie late. So I walked into this movie expecting it to be way more. And then it was like, oh, that's not too bad. That could be worse. Like, I'd been told that it was tonally too serious, I guess. So that probably, painted my expectations so that when they dropped the zombie queen's head on the pavement and it splats.
It was very funny.
I was delighted. Yeah. He's got good gore. Mm-hmm. He also was the DP of this, which, sure.
Yeah, sure.
It was fine. It looked fine.
It does a weird thing, and this is a post-production effect. This has nothing to do with the cinematography.
Right.
Where, and I've seen this in a couple other movies too, lately, where they do this thing where like only the primary subject of the shot is in focus and everything else is out of focus. So it looks like your contacts are fucked up.
Yes, and sometimes it worked. That was some of the Tig Notaro scenes where I was like, that looks bad. And it might not even be because of the effect of superimposing her in.
Yeah.
I think it's just that the shot looked bad.
Yeah.
Because he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have a feeling if I watch Cruella, I'll be more upset about that movie than this movie.
You will be. You'll be more frustrated by Cruella because Cruella legitimately, like, it's got a good director, good cast, incredible production design.
And that's like cynical corporate shit.
Yes.
That's why.
And you can clearly see what the better film within it would have been. And then it's just, let's make it a Cruella prequel. It's like, fucking why?
Yeah. This is just one madman's idea for zombies.
Yeah. And there's going to be a fucking animated prologue.
Oh, no.
Yeah, there's an animated prequel series that Netflix is producing.
To this, not Cruella.
To this. To Army of the Dead.
That's great.
Yeah, fuck it. Make 6 of these. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's also this weird low stakes with zombies where it's like, I don't really, we're so oversaturated with zombies.
You can kind of play with it
it's like
this movie does a little bit.
Yeah, and it's also like, I just don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't care.
It's not precious. It's not precious.
Yeah,
and
there's
plus
nothing precious
he's
about
playing
zombies.
around in his own sandbox, finally.
Right.
So, like, Jesus. Maybe in another year, his deranged fans will stop commenting on Restore the Snyderverse to every single its social media post anyone in any of his movies makes.
Yeah, but at the same time, maybe I'd like his other films if they made them all 4 hours long.
I mean,
I'm not saying we should restore the Snyderverse.
Every other movie he's put, this is fucking baffling to me because I have seen that argument made in earnest, and it's like literally every other movie he has ever put out has an unrated version on DVD.
Oh yeah. I also want to, I should have commented on this at the beginning. This is more about you, Tom. When you talk about how Zack Snyder films, they aren't confusing, you have a unique ability to focus on a film despite whatever horseshit it throws at you. And maybe this is actually more about me, but when a movie starts like throwing a lot of bullshit, like a Percy Jackson type movie.
Yeah.
My brain shuts down.
I've noticed that.
And I can't, I get to a point where I'm like, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
You have broken my head and I don't care to know what's happening. Like if my brain is just like, it's like it's trying to protect me. It's like, you don't need to process this. You can just let it slide off you like a waterproof raincoat,
sure.
You know? And so like Batman v Superman, I'm sure it makes enough sense, but at a certain point watching that movie, I was just like, this is just colors.
It really doesn't. And again, if you watch like the Ultimate Edition, which is his director's cut, it's the same experience as like Justice League, where it's like, oh, this is more cohesive. It's just way too long, too overstuffed. Right. A lot of stupid shit happens in it. Like there's problems with it other than the fact that it's not coherent, but like that was like the biggest complaint about Batman v Superman. It's like, this is gibberish.
Yeah, because here's the other thing is the coherence, a lot of the time it's like, oh, if you miss like a line, you won't understand why this big set piece is happening.
Yeah.
And it's like the largeness of the set piece versus the largeness of the part of the script justifying it.
Yep.
They need to bump that ratio.
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of the problems is that I don't hear every fucking line said in movies. Like, sometimes I'm looking away, or sometimes I'm thinking about something. It's like when you read a book and you read a paragraph and you're like, I didn't absorb any of that. Sometimes your mind wanders. So it's like, movies do kind of have to treat audiences like dumbasses, especially when you're making like big superhero movies, where it's like, I really don't need nuance. Like, you're making a Superman movie, don't need nuance.
Well,
in fact, would care to not have any nuance.
I mean, that's, yeah, I don't know.
It depends on the movie.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, if I'm watching like an A24 slow burn horror movie, I know I have to pay attention to the details.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think in general, I mean, I will agree with part of that, because it's like, I think your basic role in the audience transaction, in this transaction, is to pay attention to the movie.
Yes. What I'm saying is that if a movie's throwing so much noise,
if it's assaulting
and
you, you've got to really make sure you highlight what's actually important so people catch it.
Exactly, because it's at a certain point, I feel like a squirrel in a casino.
Sure.
Where it's like, I can't handle all this. You need to really make the signs big for me to know what's happening.
So how did that connect to this movie specifically?
Zack Snyder.
Oh, Zack Snyder in general.
No, earlier you had mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
This movie is not making sense.
Well, did you think this movie had like a coherence problem? I genuinely did not. Like, I didn't have any trouble.
No, except for all the plot holes.
Well, the plot hole, yeah, but like,
I wasn't confused.
Yeah.
I wasn't confused by anything.
Okay.
I would like the geography. Now that the more I talk about the geography, and the more the plot, how stupid the plot is, it does feel like
the geography's a little loose. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a lot of when they're like, nobody can fly in, but you can fly out, and I'm like, okay. I mean, seems like you can fly in too.
Wouldn't they shoot down the helicopter flying out of the quarantine zombie city faster than one flying in? Because you would assume that helicopter is full of people infected with zombie bites.
Yeah, like plot. It's nonsense.
Yeah,
the rules are bad.
The plot is dumb.
Yeah, but I guess it's like, I wasn't expecting it to not be dumb, but it is exceptionally dumb.
Yeah, that's a pretty big hole. Like that's legitimately a hole.
It's a dumb movie.
Yeah. All right. I think we've talked about it for long enough.
All right, folks. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
If you're interested, we have a Patreon. You can check out patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. You can find exclusive podcasts on there, like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman and Fox Mulder's a Maniac. We watch movies with our patrons every Friday night. Ooh. There's all sorts of stuff happening.
Yeah.
We watched Gods of Egypt and God, what
Percy
else?
Jackson.
What is it? Percy Jackson, and then like a really good movie, Geostorm.
Yeah, incredible film.
Incredible film.
No notes. We also have a store, tpublic.com/stores/gamefullyunemployed. You can get t-shirts, masks, mugs, stickers, posters, all kinds of things. So check that out. Do it.
Check it out. And check out Geostorm. It's on, I think, HBO Max right now?
Yeah, probably. That sounds like a place where
film.
It would be.
Unlike Army of the Dead, the movie makes perfect sense.
Zero questions, no
holes.
holes. All the logic is airtight. All the science is well researched.
Yes, very well researched.
It's an incredible film. It truly is.
Check it out.